you imagine yourself charging into Xenos filth or conquering the galaxy for the greater good? So do we. Join us as we chat all things tabletop without taking any of it too seriously. Welcome to Third Space Tabletop Talks.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Third Space Tabletop Talks. I'm doing really well. It's our third episode, and I've already forgotten what we're doing here. So welcome back. We got to a third episode, and I think we're starting to get an idea of what we're going on. So firstly, we'll introduce ourselves. I'm Steve, when I can hobby. Fuck's sake. And last time I said, Seb, introduce yourself, you said, oh, you've already done it for me. And I'm just waiting for you to introduce you.
Because it looks like you're top left, then it's Ben. And because most people read left to right, I was assuming you would ask Ben to go next.
I was going to go for the same order as last time.
Unlike Steve, reads diagonal to left.
So anyhow, we'll introduce ourselves. I'm Steve, when I can hobby.
I'm also Steve.
No, I'm Steve.
And so's my wife.
You guys seen that Inside Man where everyone's called like Steve-O and, you know, all that?
Stevie, yeah.
Fucking brilliant side to this. Okay, so anyhow, the four Steves are here. Okay, I'm Steve, when I can hobby. Seb, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Seb, also known as Let's Geek It Out. Hello.
I'm Ben from the Jedi Archives.
And my name's Josh. I don't really go by other names, so yeah, Josh is fine.
Or Steve.
No. So anyhow, so following the format that we've done for the first two episodes, Warhammer news. So touching base with stuff that's going on in the Warhammer world at the present moment. So Ben, being our resident correspondent on all things new in Warhammer, what's going on in the Warhammer world, Ben?
Sanguinius, followed by some more Sanguinius.
Oh, fantastic!
Right,
is he back yet?
And that's he never left. Actually, he never left.
He's in our hearts.
That's what I'm sticking to. No, we've got some some really cool releases for Mechanicus for Horus Heresy. Some mighty looking tanks coming out, which look really good. And I've done the dangerous thing of listening to Warhammer books and then wanting to invest in more game systems. So even though, like we were talking last week about how I've gone,
Sigma. I mean, you're doing well, Ben. First episode.
My ADHD laser focus on Sigmar, followed by just a smattering of Aeronautica. And now I'm like, yep, I really should do Blood Angels for Horus Heresy alongside the Imperial Fist that I've never fucking used.
See, I thought I was bad. I can't stick to anything, but Ben has a new army every podcast.
The only difference is he completes them.
Yeah, all right.
I do finish them, yeah.
I'm not sure if he does. I remember the Eldar army that he started or didn't.
I'm not aware of what you're talking about. I don't remember Eldar. I'm not even convinced they're a faction, to be honest with you. I think you've made it up.
No comment.
For those who don't know, when the new release came out, Ben got everything. It's still in the boxes. He took his book on holiday with him, I think, and that was it.
Yep. I read about it, got excited, got someone else excited along the journey with me, and then I half printed a Phantom Titan and then left it at just the legs. And I'll get the rest of it done at some point.
So, some sexy legs. So we got some
and new releases. Kill Team, the Blood and Zeal, which looks really cool, especially the blood half of it.
Yeah,
looks really cool.
They are nice. They are. And yeah, I saw like the priests and stuff. It's Ayatani Swale from Gonskoses. I want to make one of them to look like him. But yeah, no, it's pretty good. Although also the Mechanicum tanks, does not one of them look like Matilda from Robot Wars?
Yes, it absolutely does.
I've got some of them on screen. Do you want me to chuck them up?
Yeah, stick them up.
Hang on a minute. Let's see if I can do this. Entire screen. Here we go. Share. Here we go. We've got
Matilda.
Here's Matilda.
She looks like Matilda from
Yeah.
from
If
Robot
Matilda
Wars.
had a load of like missiles stacked in just behind the.
Well, if Matilda's based on the Triceratops, then this is just a Tricerabottoms, isn't it? It's just the bottom half. They've absolutely nailed it.
They have
It's so
indeed.
cool, though.
It
It
is
looks so
cool.
cool. I don't know what to do with it. I don't need it, but it looks so cool.
So the guns on the
Don't
side,
shut
on
you like a
the
magpie,
twisty, twisty mounts, like, are awesome.
That's cool.
You know,
And
I hadn't
I-
considered a Mechanicus army, but
Well,
I could be persuaded.
I don't know how you pronounce this. I think is it the Karachnos, something like that. I think that's what this thing's called. And I think looking at this, I mean, this and this, I presume they're two different kits, but I don't know. GW might have worked some of their magic, and it might be the same kit, and you might be able to do one or the other. Not sure, but yeah, this was the other thing, which has some sort of alien-esque gun emplacement here. Reminds me of the first Alien film where they find the guy in the seat. You know the bit I'm on
And
about?
then you see him again in
Yeah,
Prometheus, don't you?
Yeah.
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 I mean, I've gone the other way with this. I'm thinking Mars Attack. Look at that gun, like, that just looks like something from Mars
Oh,
Attack.
Mars Attacks. What a film! What a film!
So this was the Krios, I think. So it's got some Volkite stuff on the side, and then
That looks properly steampunky, doesn't it?
yeah, it's like a Mechanicus blunderbuss as its main weapon.
I suppose, to
Yeah.
be fair, all of the
That's fucking
new
cool. I like
Mechanicus
that.
stuff it's all got quite a steampunky feel, doesn't it?
That's really cool. I like that one.
Yeah, I feel as though this weapon that he's got here looks like it's some sort of giant nail gun or something like that.
Yeah.
When you got a heresy to overthrow at 9, and at 10 o'clock you gotta go do some first fix stud work, like,
Well, some carpentry, yeah.
Then
And what are the other ones?
otherwise,
the Thraxy somethings.
Oh, they're cool.
these are the Ursaracs they were. Yeah,
That's the ones.
yeah. And then I saw that there was something otherwise, which was I think this was announced for Adepticon. So like they've dropped this, whatever this is. It looks vaguely.
Is it gone off jelly?
Yeah, yeah. It's like Gene Stealer infested jelly. Yeah.
and Gene Stealer blue waffles.
Taste the taint.
Taste
say
the
blue
taint.
waffle.
Maybe.
Oh, fucking hell. And we're off.
And cut. Yeah.
For
So
viewers
no.
at home, if you don't know what blue waffle is, don't Google it.
Google it.
15-year-old me was horrified.
No,
I didn't sleep for
definitely.
weeks.
But yeah, so I mean that's the new stuff, and then obviously like we got Adepticon coming up. That's this weekend. Am I right? That's right, isn't it? It's this weekend, Adepticon. So when this gets released, it'll probably it would have started Adepticon. You know?
It's like really early in the morning. Is it like 3 or 4 in the morning or something like that for us?
Yeah,
Have they announced any releases yet, or is it just like
No,
that
nothing.
we'll
Nothing's
find
been
out
announced
during
yet.
just a blue waffle.
They're announcing Age of Sigmar stuff, so I'm just like, oh my god. Shut up, Steve.
I want to say
so-
that Adepticon starts on Wednesday, I think, and then runs through to the weekend.
Yeah, Wednesday, 26th of March. Or Thursday, the 27th of March, 2 a.m. GMT time. So that's for us, lucky lot.
So
We'll still be working then, so we'll be all right. We can tune in.
yeah. We'll be down at the new space. I think it's literally last week of work down there, isn't it, Ben? We're almost there.
Almost there.
Almost there. I
So
say we. I think you don't.
lined up.
So, but yeah, I think. Well, I mean, it's fair to say. What any predictions for Adepticon, guys? Anything that you think is going to be coming out, or anything you think's on the horizon? I mean,
My
I'm going
money
to go.
would be on something chaosy, whether it's because they've teased the 3 other Chaos Legions. My money would be on maybe World Eaters.
They need.
Maybe
They
a
do.
little World Eaters unit.
They need to bring up, don't they? No, they need to be.
I
Brought
really
back
hope they don't, because I've been this close to starting World Eaters so many times. And if they
So
release a load of
welcome
cool
to my
models,
world where you are
Yeah.
just one bad thing away from starting a new army.
yeah, literally. I think it's not bad. It's a great thing. And I can sit there in my house going, look at all these boxes that are never going to get assembled. But yeah, I think if they announce World Eaters, I would have a genuine problem with not wanting to start an army.
I mean, but I feel like that will be a massive flex for you for when you're on the dating scene with girls. Just like check my boxes out. Like, it's just.
Do you want to see my box? Yes, please. No. It's full of plastic.
You can show them people that you can roll and you got money, like, all that plastic you buy.
Do you know what? We went to a party the weekend, and I was the only one there that's into any of this stuff. Okay, so
you're going to say you won there.
I was the only one there. Going around with the ball with the keys, asking everyone else to put them in.
Rocking back and forth in his straight jacket.
So, one of the I don't know what I want to share on it.
Share.
I was at a party the other week. I was the only one there. Sorry, I was sitting at home and
just bear in mind there were 5 other people will also hear what you're about to say. So.
Yeah, if our 2 listeners are offended, I apologise. There's card games and a few drinks involved, blah blah blah. One of the questions was, "What's the weirdest thing you've ever tugged off to?" And I was like, "All right, And then I was asked directly, "Have you ever done it over your Warhammer?" And I was like, "What do you think this hobby's about?" Like,
thank God. I thought you were going to be like,
"Well, yeah."
Fucking
It's just like, well, obviously not, because they're small plastic models. and B, even if they were Daughters of Cain, you've spent too much time and money on them just to spray them with population paste.
We're 11 minutes in.
Sorry, I've been thinking about it, and I deliberately didn't want to tell any of you about it so I could reveal it. And I was just like, it just got me thinking. I was like, what on earth do you think happens at these gaming evenings? Like,
I think surely it's worse that the person who was speaking to you thought that was a possibility.
Yeah,
surely that says more about his mindset than yours.
No, it was a her. I was like, no.
I feel she was going down the line of, I'm asking for a friend kind of question. Like, have you ever done it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I find out she's got a secret Warhammer collection.
Atanosh doesn't know what Warhammer is, and she starts telling you all this lore. Oh, right, yeah, never heard of it before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sanguinius?
Is that you?
So there you go. That's my little what's new. What's been happening in your hobby world?
Well, there you go.
We were going to go down their Adepticon predictions. I don't know how we got there.
Age of Sigmar. So I think, obviously we're going to get Age of Sigmar stuff, and I will die on this cross that I want to see them finish off Skaven. Just give us Plague Monks redone, Night Runners redone, or they will go for something else completely. I did the last Adepticon, I think it was, when they had their sort of roadmap, because anything these days has got to have some form of a roadmap. They had on there, I think they had a hint for the Realm Lords, which is quite interesting. So, there's a few things it could be, but I reckon they'll go for something that hasn't been touched in a while. So probably the Realm Lords.
I'd be surprised if they do something with Skaven so soon after.
Yeah, they probably won't announce it. Yeah.
Then some of the individual bits come out the week. Was it last week or the week before? The individual bits came out.
Yeah. That's just wishful thinking.
If that was the big reveal, I'd hope it's something different, something real spicy, something really exciting. Chaos. They've got 3 Chaos updates in the roadmap.
Nice.
So I'd be surprised if we're for end of Q1. I don't know, but they've just done Emperor's Children, haven't they? So would they do it so soon?
There was,
or would it be Sanguinius?
Well,
at the last Adepticon, they did.
They haven't revealed anything for Sanguinius for some time now.
No, I think it will be. I think if they're using Adepticon to announce it, it'll be something big. It'll be like a whole army re-release, not just a unit or 2.
So then it comes down to them what if it's a Chaos chapter, which ones have got enough to do a whole army box without it being? But then
I think they're definitely going to do. Yes, after you.
No, you go. It's all right, ladies first.
We need,
I
we need
think-
like a light system. Josh is not taking any part in this.
Josh is
I
like,
was
I've got a career.
I was quietly having a look just to see if there were any clues on the Warhammer community website. So there's that picture that I showed earlier of the demonic jelly, and the kind of Adepticon preview image itself kind of specifically has, I don't know, this might be the standard for what they have. They have, Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, Warhammer the Old World, and then Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team as the 4 badges that are displayed under it, implying that those would be specifically the areas they're looking at revealing stuff in. So I guess there's been a relatively big Horus Heresy release just recently in respect of the Mechanicum stuff. So maybe they're going to be giving that a rest for a bit. But Kill Team being on there specifically, I guess, leads to speculation that they'll be doing, I don't know, maybe a couple of new Kill Teams, or maybe expanding it. I don't know. How long ago did they last release Kill Team? Do any of you guys play it?
Yeah,
Well, that new starter set only dropped. Was it back end of the year?
Yeah,
last year.
Hivestorm was dropped so long ago, and then they've done the Ratlings and the Orcs, and they've just done obviously Blood and Seal. There's been a fair amount. Kill Team's doing well. It's getting lots of releases.
So I could show you a second.
I'd be surprised if it was more than a couple of Kill Teams.
I'd be surprised if they did another set though. It's because they've got.
What are they doing? Are they doing about a set a quarter, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah. Oh, what new sets? Oh no, the little sets. Yeah.
For Kill Team. Yeah, they do a new set about once a quarter. So unless they're going to do it early and then get the let everyone get excited about it.
Yeah, so these are the ones that this is the roadmap for AOS. This is what got announced last year. So we're definitely getting Deepkin, Nighthaunt as well. And those are the ones on the horizon. That's obviously, that looks like Khorne.
Khorne, yeah, for sure.
This one there's the one was about the Realm Lords. That's literally the photo of one of the Zeppelins.
That's the Caradron Overlords as opposed to the Realm Lords.
Sorry, the Caradron. Yeah, the Caradron Overlords. That's literally the Zeppelin. Not sure that one on the end is there.
No.
But so we're definitely going to be getting the Caradron Overlords, something Chaos related. I don't know what that is. That's a wing. That looks like a flesh eater wing. And then so there's more after. But
what's that? Just a couple of eyes on that picture?
Yeah, don't know. That's weird. I'm not quite sure what that could be.
Some sort of skull.
Looks like Zeratul from the Protoss in
Lizard
StarCraft.
Man. That could. To be fair, that does look a bit lizardy actually. Or you have got like a sort of hammer, in there as well. Mate, I don't know, because lots of people were saying they might release Chaos Dwarves, but I mean that'd be cool. But I don't know. If they would,
they did bring out Chaos Dwarves for Blood Bowl last year as well. So but not saying
that's true.
Completely unrelated. So
yeah, of course.
So no,
well, no,
okay.
it's a similar concept though, isn't it? Aimed in the back of their head.
Is that all specifically Age of Sigmar stuff? Because obviously all of those
this is Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
This is just Age of
That's all
Sigmar.
it cares about nothing else. It's just
I don't care about the rest of this.
I found some Sigmar stuff.
Yeah.
I was thinking
the roadmap for 40k was Krieg, which has been done, Emperor's Children, 3 Chaos chapters, Eldar, which we've had a bit for, or Eldari, we should say in the modern tongue. The other one is Chaos Knights, so it could be Chaos Knights as well. That would be something big and spicy for them to do as a reveal. So
it would be nice. Chaos Knights.
Chaos Knights.
Yeah,
Chaos Knights haven't had a codex. Did they get one in ninth?
I don't know actually.
Unless they did get one in ninth, Chaos Knights.
But no. So,
sure.
but
that could be.
Yeah. Well, we will see, and hopefully by the time this gets released, everyone will have either waited a day or so, or would have already known. So, but I'm just saying, there's a new Primaris,
and all our predictions will be completely wrong.
So that's that. So then, round the table, guys, what have you guys been up to in the hobby in the last 2 weeks? Starting with Josh. Let me guess the title. No, Josh.
Starting with me. What have I been doing? So I've been building up a couple of Aeronautica Imperialis grot bombers. I tried to buy a mega bomber, which was for sale on eBay, but people wanted ridiculous money for it, and it's
How much did it go for?
Yeah, it's expensive. It ended up going for like £116 in the end. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's outrageous. I'm not sure what the regular price for them is.
I can't remember what the RRP was on that. Not that.
I mean, I didn't play it when they were still selling it, but I'm sure it wouldn't have been as much as 116 quid. Yeah, rather frustratingly, I think I'd put in 114 quid as my max bid, and then so it evidently just went. It was probably me and one other person prepared to pay that kind of money for it.
Ben sat there laughing.
yeah. I decided on a colour
mega bomber,
scheme.
absolute steal.
Really? How much? £114.50.
Josh, completely unrelated. I have got a mega bomber spare for just 200 quid.
Yeah, nice bargain. I decided on a colour scheme for my Aeronautica Imperialis stuff, so I'm going to go with like a teal and like a sort of brown kind of combination. So I picked up a Stegodon scale green, Sotek green, and then the Temple Guard blue. And then I was thinking maybe like a Steel Legion drab as like a kind of contrast. So that sort of set of colours. So at the moment they are, I've sort of based them in the Stegodon scale green for most of the force. And other than that, I have just been trying to tidy up some space so I can airbrush the other colours on them, because I want to try and use airbrushing in this just as a bit of a practice with it, because I've still not spent a huge amount of time using it yet, and I want to get a bit better at it. I thought they'd probably be quite a good project to do that. So yeah, that's about it for me though. How about you, chaps?
So Seb, what you been working on?
Custodes. That's it. That's all I have to say about them. I'm really struggling with them now. Every time I finish a mod, that looks really cool. I'm really happy with that. But then I go, oh my God, I just can't be arsed with painting them. I want to move on to something else. But I'm doing that adult thing now of going, sometimes you have to do things in life that you don't like doing. So just fucking get on with it. That's kind of the attitude I'm taking with the Custodes now, just to get them done. And then I've got my 40k army. That will be the army that I play for the foreseeable when I play 40k. And then I can focus on Middle-earth and Age of Sigmar.
Nice.
But yeah, that's me.
Ben, what have you been doing apart from spaffing over Warhammer?
Well, yeah, apart from that, apart from painting it with... really, the only thing I've been painting is walls. That's it really. But yeah, no, I haven't been, just because we're getting the new space ready. A lot of spare time's going to that. But I have done the odd bit of building in true form where I stick to one game system. Last night I built Dominion Zephon from Horus Heresy, something from 40k, and then a couple of Chaos bits from Sigmar.
I thought you were being serious then when I was going to go, what the hell's this? Sticking to one system?
Yeah. No, I because I'm re-listening to, I think it's Lost and the Damned is the book that I'm listening to again, and there's a load of stuff with Sanguinius in it on the Siege of Terror. And Dominion Zephon features in a lot of the Siege of Terror stuff. He's a really cool character. And I was doing the order for the store with GW, and no, it was an online one. Ordered some online bits for someone. Like, do I need anything? And whenever I'm on there, I flick onto the online only stuff. And I was like, well, a little Blood Angels thing won't hurt, will it? I'll just add that in. So yeah, it's a really cool model. He's got like the jet jump packs, jumping over some rock as all jetpack dudes do. Looks very cool, so I'm going to give that a go. I might try a different style of painting with it. I don't know what yet. I might try something different. Don't know.
So what? Moving away from
go for the real.
Moving away from the Battle Line Plus, yeah.
Well, Steve, I just said I don't know. That's as far as I've got, mate. I don't know. I just looked at it. I was like, maybe I'll do something different. I probably will slap chop it. Let's be honest. I probably will do that. But I was just debating whether I try a similar thing, but dry brushing through the reds. and then I can dial it back with a either a Blood Angels or a Flesh Terriers red contrast. So I was going to try a triple threat red, and then go from there. See how that looks.
I thought your suggestion that you were going to do something different was in reference to your inability to stick with the game system. You built it and were just like, right, I'm going to do something different, like a bit of Age of Sigmar.
I did get after building my first Eternus, first Prince, as just a Chaos Lord on his demonic mount. I then read about the Eternus lore and decided that I needed Eternus. So I've now got my second Eternus, built him as Eternus, and got him primed earlier today, ready to paint at some point. So I've got him, Dominion, or him and Zephon, and a couple of the bits primed. And, I'll just never complete anything. And I'll just
are you battle line plussing all of your Slaves to Darkness?
Yes, and I'm actually doing the same with my Aeronautica as well.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
So, I think I showed you I did a little test run with my Messerschmitt colour scheme on the faction that I wasn't planning on using, obviously.
Whoops.
I couldn't resist because they just look so German. So I was like, oh, go on then, I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
So no, I did we saw the grey and orange I did for the Yimlock or Imlock or Yimmy Lock, which is that grey and orange, and I'm going to do that same thing. And that was just, battle line plussing it through the paints.
Nice.
And then just a little tickle with a dry brush afterwards. But I've got my Aeronautica stuff. It's all primed, ready to go. Done the test scheme, so I'm happy with what I want to do. So I'm so close to finishing it. One of these game systems, I'm definitely going to maybe start a different one.
I mean, Aeronautica, you literally only have to have like 6 or 7 planes. So,
And that's why that's why I got 30.
Yes.
Upset with the prospect of finishing his force and was like, I've got to build it in a way that I can't finish it.
As I was looking at the small squadron, I thought there's a very real danger that I get this to the table finished.
So no. And then
what about you, Steve?
Myself, I have again been busy with Ben on weekends, been working out the new space, getting it ready. But I did attend a Blood Bowl tournament on the weekend, and wait for it, guys, I came last, and it was fantastic. So
that's what it's all about here at the third space.
So, well, no, that's it. It was a local tournament.
Are you going to launch a coaching program for it?
100. Want to lose in style with Steve. So anyhow, so I went. It was the first NAF tournament, so I'm not sure if you know about Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl kept running. You guys are assholes. So Blood Bowl kept running. When it wasn't being used by Games Workshop, the NAF were running it, so it's like an independent group of people who kept it going, and they've had these tournaments going. All the tournaments I've been to before have just been Warhammer tournaments, Warhammer linked tournaments. So this was the first NAF tournament I went to, and it was really good fun. I had a great time. I got my certificate down here, which is School of Hard Blocks 4 wooden spoon. I got my wooden spoon up here. I got given. I got a bracelet with dice, all number ones. He said I had such bad dice. Put all my bad dice in the bracelet for me. And also up here on Pride of Place, I got a little crocheted goblin that he crocheted all the prizes. I just thought it was amazing. Like I to be fair, like other guys were there like, yes, I got a draw. I didn't lose all my games. I'm like, yes, but you didn't win anything. And I won a lot of things. So I was mightily pleased and very happy. So yeah, he's there. Pride of Place. It's definitely I'll be going to it again because it's down the road from us. So yeah, I had great fun doing that, and I've done no other hobby. I tidied up my hobby space, sorted the internet in here, and I'm back in the container again. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
That's what it's about, though, isn't it? You might have come last, but you had a good time.
Oh,
and that's the whole point of it.
Literally, again, this thing like with Blood Bowl and the Blood Bowl community, I love. It's the second time I've come dead last in a tournament. So like, if you want Blood Bowl advice, I am not your guy, but
Bit of a veteran now.
I went to these tournaments and I've enjoyed being there. Don't get me wrong, like, you don't like losing, but the games were decent games, and I did enjoy the game and just the company and the people that I was there with. And again, because it's just fun, it is a fun game. I enjoy it and enjoy that kind of thing. So looking forward to the 40k tournament we got in June that we're going to, and I'll see if it's the same feel there. I definitely know I get the good feel in the shop. I definitely get a good feel in the hobby club community that we've got going on Discord and stuff. I just don't know what it's going to be like at a 40k grand tournament, so it'll be interesting because I am going to be awful.
Mate, to be honest, you've probably played more of 40k than I have. I think I've played 3 games on Tabletop Simulator. 2 of them I got smashed, and then the third game I won because I was playing against a very nice opponent who could have probably taken me out if he wanted to. So, but I mean, either way, we're going to have, I know we've said it every podcast so far, either way, it's going to be a great time. We're going to have a fantastic time in and around the tournament. So, it'll be worth it. And after that, I can put my Custodes to one side and put them in the loft.
That's it. Just, I feel like you're going to achieve the record of being the first person to place last with Custodes in any grand tournament.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to win that. I've got to win something.
So, but yeah, so no, that's that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And I think, unless we've got anything else to chat about, guys, we will get into the main topic of today's podcast, which I think was the loose title we gave was how good is good enough? If any of you guys want to kind of start it off a bit.
I think the idea was around like what level of painting and how much do you need, how much, not pressure, but how much kind of time do you need to spend before it's acceptable to put something on the tabletop? And I think it's probably quite an individual thing, and I think it probably depends what you want to get out of the hobby and what you're getting enjoyment out of. And if your main thing, sorry, Josh, you don't need to take minutes, mate. You're all good.
Josh is just typing away in the background.
Sorry, I don't know why. I don't know why it picks up my typing. Actually, I thought it would have had noise cancellation on for that.
Can you stop typing with a sledgehammer?
Yeah.
That would be a great help.
I thought I'd write down a talking point so I could bring it up when it gets to a natural point to mention it in a moment. But in so doing, I was like, right, time to interrupt clackiest keyboard.
I was thinking they're cool with mechanical keyboards.
At least you started taking minutes after the spaff talk earlier, so that's good. So now that'll be in writing.
Yeah, that's all struck from the record.
Yeah.
So no, I think the thing is like everyone's got different ways of getting things to the tabletop. I think what was quite interesting is my journey back in the hobby started about a year and a bit ago when I went to enter the Bugman's Belter at Warhammer World. And I had my first team that I painted and went to a tournament, and I got those models out again about a couple of weeks ago, and looking at the comparing what I thought was good enough then to what I've got now. Not saying there's any difference, it's seeing how I've progressed and what I accept and what I don't accept now in the ways of getting things to the tabletop. It's an interesting progression, but also I remember being at one point when I was painting that first Blood Bowl team going like, I just want to play. I just want to get these guys on the pitch. I can't spend hours and hours every night, trying to perfect something because I might have and again, it was entering my first Blood Bowl tournament and I was really nervous. I was like, I could end up hating this. This could be an awful scene. And I could, I don't want to go back into it. So why would I want to spend a lot of time into it, putting all that time into painting the army, painting the team? Turns out the scene's great, and I would still bring that team out, although it's not to the same standard that I paint a year later. It's still, I'm still happy to play with it because they're a good team to play with and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's trying to figure out.
I think there's.
You can always go back and touch it up afterwards, can't you? If you want to go back and revisit those later on, you can look back at them and go, do you know what, actually, I'm going to do some extra bits to those now, but Yeah.
That's an interesting discussion in and of itself, because once I've sort of declared a model like finished, I never do anything to it ever again, because I like to be able to look back at that history of my own stuff and to have that kind of catalogued as a thing. And I totally understand why people would go back to something and say, actually, you know, my skills have improved, I've gotten better, I can do something better than this. But I still have the first army that I ever painted, just still in all of the original paints that I painted it in. Back when I was about 10 years old or something like that. And I've got that kind of chronology of moving along and kind of getting better at painting and then reaching my peak in painting about 10 years ago and then getting worse and worse. Yeah.
Well, I think as well, it's one of those things that there's so many, as an individual, there's so many variables. So if I was like, okay, I want to start an army, is this army going to be my main army that I'm going to play for a while, or am I just getting this army done so I can play the game system and have it on the table? For example, with the Custodes, ignore how long it's taken me to do the very basic paint scheme on them, but it's a very easy army to get done. It's a small amount of models, and yeah, I think they look cool, and obviously if I didn't think they look cool, I wouldn't want to paint them at all. But because there's a smaller amount, I can do 30 models and then I can just play with them, get them on the table. Whereas if I then played enough and I really got into 40k and I then thought, you know what, I want to play more 40k, then I go, right, okay, let's look at the other options. And that's when I would kind of probably choose the army that I wanted to go about playing for a long time, because I'd like to be in a position where I could almost main one army, whether that was in 40k or Age of Sigmar. So that's kind of my thoughts of the Skaven. Although there's a load of them, I want to take my time with it because that's the army I would want to play for the foreseeable. So I think there's lots of different reasons to why and how and what is acceptable to an individual.
The thing is also is
and
like what
again, it comes back to that sort of like do the rule of cool, isn't it? Like get the stuff you're going to enjoy first, because you're going to take so long. And I think the other thing as well is that the only person who's going to put yourself under pressure to deliver a high standard is going to be you.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to playing a game, you know, by all means, if you've got an Ultramarines army and you've got Rabute Guilliman in there, yeah, spend a time on it, because it's it's an expensive piece, it's a centerpiece. If you're doing a guard army, don't spend hours on a guardsman, because it's going to be on the table for about 1.5 turns and then it'll be dead and back in your box. So
absolutely,
and no one, there'll be very few people are going to, who you want to play with, who are going to sit there and go, oh, looking forward to the game, but your models look shit. Like,
yeah.
Then you can, again, like we'd put the Battle Line Plus video out there. That's perfect for churning out, large numbers of minis without spending loads of time on it, and to a level where they look pretty good up close. They look even better a foot away. You don't tend to play with them at the end, at the right. You're not looking at them at the end of your nose, sort of thing. You're always a few feet away from them.
Yeah, I think as well. I think when you've got them on the tabletop, yeah, you look at them and go, yeah, they look really good. I'm really happy with those. Maybe once or twice in the whole time you're playing, because once you're into the game, you're too focused on how the game's going to go, oh yeah, I could have done a bit more on him there. You just kind of you're in the system. You're kind of in the game. So I don't.
Another thing is when you're talking about when you're playing the game, when you're full flow in a game, you don't even care half the time which way your miniatures are facing, let alone what they look like painted. You're going to move this squad. I'm going to move this squad up in here, and it's just like, well, the only way I'm going to get all of them into that terrain piece is if he's bent round that way, he's bent this way, and so on and so forth. And it's having that understanding, isn't it? That again, it's painting the models that are good enough to get onto the table. When you play people, even if you're playing against someone else, if they painted an army, you always make a compliment or two on their army if you like it, and or so on and so forth. But after that, can you just imagine being like, your models look fucking shit. No one does that. No one goes along and goes like,
you only do that. You only do that if they've absolutely tabled you, and then you're well within your right.
Well, they're shit as well. They look shit. I don't play well. Yeah, of course.
But it's
I think on this topic there are kind of. Oh, sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
No. Go. You go.
I was going to say, for me in this topic, there's kind of two main things that stand out, and like one of them is that I always feel that I'm going to be more critical of my own work than I will be of anyone else's, right? And this isn't taking a stab at any like one particular person's work, but even if I'm just scrolling through eBay looking at some Warhammer stuff, as we are wont to do, because we clearly don't already have enough stuff to be doing of our own. You know,
what you mean, mate.
Yeah. And Warhammer, never heard of buying more of it. Nah. But like, you'll scroll through eBay and you'll see on eBay an army of things. And I sometimes just look at them, the nice zoomed out picture where you've got the full family photo of a squad of like whatever it might be. And you think to yourself, fucking hell, I wish I could paint like that. They look amazing. And then when you actually go to like the zoomed individual shots for the models, quite often they're actually not all that. They're fairly like standard paint job, and that's not to be derisory of anybody's individual efforts. The point I'm really making is that
message
actually
on eBay and just go, I was going to buy it, but they're shit.
I was going to buy it, but actually I look closer. You're scamming, mate. No. The point I'm really making is that when you look at those close up shots of them, you might think to yourself, oh, actually they're not all that good. But that's not really the point. When you're painting a model yourself, you're looking at it at that close-up thing going, oh, I'm not sure if what I'm doing is actually that good. But when you put it down on the table and somebody else is looking at it, they're getting that full family photo view of it going, they look fucking great. That looks amazing. And that's not just a thing of, saying, oh, just be nice to people. Generally, that does, if you can get like a nice consistent color scheme and you can get that across a load of your models, then you put them on the table. They can look fantastic. You don't even have to have spent hours. The things that you'll be agonizing about being like, oh, look, I can't quite, get this tiny little bit that's in behind like the bolter that he's holding up against his chest like this or something. Anybody you play against ain't going to be seeing it. They're never going to notice it. They're never going to worry about it. So that's one of the that's one of the things that occurs to me. And the other one is that like, with the sort of access to technology and the access to social media and everything else that we have these days, you're in a better position than ever before to like rob yourself of joy by comparing yourself to other people, right? Like the best people in the world who have dedicated their entire lives to painting are like a click away. And comparing yourself and your own efforts to those people can be really, really demoralizing. And that is part of why I keep the models which I've painted in the past, because then I can go, well, actually, I was happy with this thing, and the thing I've just done is actually better than that. And kind of iterating on and comparing yourself to your past self and just getting better at it, I think is a kind of much more positive approach to take. And ultimately, I think if you're happy, if you can have a good time painting it, doesn't matter if it's as technically good as somebody else's. It's your thing, it's your expression, it's your hobby. Enjoy yourself and have like a good time with it, right?
Oh, for sure, man. And I've got a friend who posts photos of the models he does on Instagram, and his paint jobs are absolutely incredible. But I spoke to him about it.
You were going to say absolutely shit.
No way.
And this guy just keeps posting them. I keep reporting them to Instagram. And they keep posting.
Go away. No, not at all. His work is absolutely fantastic. And I asked him, I said, oh, have you got a full? Because he does Eldari. And I said, have you got a full army? He goes, absolutely not. He says, I've not got time to paint a full army to this standard. This is the standard I'm painting at to showcase. If I was painting an army, it wouldn't be nearly half as good as what he's done. And I think, although he's not there trying to say your whole army can look like this, it's very easy for a newbie coming into the hobby that is what is an acceptable standard, which is I think, is why when you're on the GW website, for new people coming into the hobby, it can be quite like threatening, because you go, whoa, hang on, there's no way in hell I can paint like that. It's like, no, you paint them however you want. And these are some of the best painters in the game doing this. So you need to realize that your standards don't have to be, your expectations haven't got to be that high. Not for your first army, not ever. But that's never made very clear to people, I feel.
No, I was just going to say the same thing. When you scroll through those product pictures, and obviously they're selling a product, so those pictures have got to look absolutely banging. But yeah, again, like, I look at their stuff and I'm like, I'd love to be able to paint with the sort of heavy metal style that they do, yeah, all the panel lining, but I just can't be bothered. I could. I mean, I tried it with. I think I told you guys a couple of months back. I tried doing an ultramarine in that in GW style, and I think I nailed it on like one part of the model. And I looked at it, I was like, yeah, that looks cool. And the next bit completely balls it up, and I thought, oh, fuck it, I need to paint this red. This needs to become a blood angel. What was I even thinking? What the hell's wrong with me? But that I think what I did was like did the ultramarine, one guy, put him to one side, then went off and painted 5 blood angels, and then came back and then thought, right, I better do his legs now. And it took so long. At the end of it, I was like, well, it's good, but I've still messed up that little panel there. I've got to redo that one, redo that, and I thought, nah.
It's almost the joy from painting, the thought of painting something to that standard just went straight away.
I was going to do a kill team in Ultramarines, and I thought, nah, what would Sanguinius do? I just even then, for even a small squad, I thought, I can't. I just don't want to do it, and also sure. I'm not going to get enjoyment out of it because it's not going to be at the standard I want yet. Mm-hmm. I could keep practicing, keep going with it. And maybe that's what I need to do is keep trying that method until I've got it. But I just didn't enjoy that method. I really like the technique that I've got nailed down now. I really like it. And I like how it looks. I like the fact that I can get that balance between...
That's all that matters.
Stuff that looks good, that I go, oh, I like that. Because I probably... If out of 100% in terms of what I enjoy, I would say 40% is building them. I love the cutting and sticking. And then 30% is painting and 30% is playing.
Yeah, you should see him with his Pritt stick building them up.
That's that. Josh, I'm not going back to that evening again. I'm not going back to the party, all right? Not talk about that anymore.
Oh, yeah.
But I love the putting them together, kit bashing them, spending time filing off the lines and all that kind of stuff. I enjoy that bit because I find that quite therapeutic to a degree. And then the painting, I'm kind of like, I do like it, but not to a point where I want to go, I want to spend if I've spent an evening building it, I don't want to spend 10 evenings painting it. I'm like, right, now it's built. What I really want to do is buy another box and do something else, but I probably should paint these. So I'm kind of, all right, let's get some paint on them, make them look pretty good in a reasonable amount of time.
Well, I think that you've managed to find a really sort of good place with your painting in particular, where I know how much time you spend on them and how good they look for the amount of time you spend on them, and you've got a really, really good like middle ground with that. Whereas I for whatever reason, I'm incapable of painting something quickly, and I'm incapable of painting something well. So I'm in like a kind of uncanny valley.
No idea.
Ben's are like, quick and pretty good. Mine take ages to be as bad as they are. Like,
but we did. Well, you were doing one of your Battle Sisters tanks, weren't you?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The Castigator.
Yeah. Just like let's give it a go with some sponge. And it's
then after that we started on the tank. Yeah.
Yeah. Josh, can you wash my feet for me with that warm sponge? Oh, well, yes.
I'm definitely looking forward to using your can't wait. No, doing your way of painting on an army. I'm looking forward to just doing that and seeing how quickly
Skaven will look amazing on anything with texture where you don't want like solid blocks of color. It works really well on anything leathery, anything skin, anything with texture.
Yeah, I think they look great on the Skaven, and obviously. Yeah, I mean, there's not actually that much on there because obviously you've got the skin, you've got the fur, and then obviously the metallics do that part separately anyway. Yep. So I'm looking forward to trying it with the Skaven, and that'll be really cool.
The other thing as well is as my eyesight's got worse, even just dry brushing them so I can see what the hell it is I'm painting, because when it's all black, I can't really tell what it is. Whereas even if I'm doing flat colour, so when I was doing like the Sanguinary Guard, who are all in gold, I still dry brush them just so I could see what it was I was painting, because all of a sudden I can see all the little details, all the lines. I mean, I probably should just wear my glasses, but that's for idiots. I
love the idea that you like dry brush the dry brush the entire of this sanguinary guard, and then you're like, oh yeah, and get out the can of Retributor armor and just spray him gold. Like,
That's dead on.
No, it's. I think it's a trick.
Steve, your Chaos Cultist that we did for that video,
Yeah.
it looks great on there. You with the skin, the way the skin works, the tunic or
No, I think-
loincloth or skirt, whatever it is these guys are wearing. It works
where
really
you-
well.
Where you've said about doing the dry brushing to bring that detail out, it's just like it helps so much because be it getting old or be it just there's so much detail on these models now. Because that's the other thing as well, isn't it? The amount of detail that you have on these models is unreal. And it's finding that quick way of just being able to pick that details up. Like, I think I've said before already, like when I first tried contrast, I didn't like it. I've now done your method, the Battle Line Plus, which is a 3 grays, work our way up, and then using the contrast paints, it just looks so much more smarter and cleaner, and there's a real good grading on it. And it just, I it's annoying I haven't got the model with me right now, but it looks really smart. And for the effort that goes into it and the result, it's spot on. Because I think one thing that I find is I learned layer painting, so working from a base, a wash, and then layering up. I like the old way of doing it. I say the old way of doing it, it's just the standard way of doing it. And then when the contrast paints came out, from the off,
A side note, does GW still call it heavy metal? They still call it heavy metal?
they still have the heavy metal
I
studio.
think do they call it the classic method now? Is that what it's called?
I feel
think
like
they've got
more
the two
people
methods
call
they
it.
promote. I think it's called classic and contrast are the two methods.
But the thing is,
But they
it's
don't
like,
ever talk about contrast.
but is there like, and it's like when the contrast came out, it's like, when it first came out, everyone said put a white base coat, just paint on it, it'll be fine. And then obviously, it was like do centerfold highlights, and then obviously now going on to the way that yourself with Battle Line Plus with the 3 dry brushes, it's that has now made me like contrast paints. It's taken a year and a bit trying different methods and finally get into a method that I enjoy painting with the contrast paint and get a finish that I like the look of. Because no matter what, contrast, it works, but it's essentially like a wash and a base coat, isn't it? Really, like, it's not quite there.
This is what that's all it is, and I'm convinced that painting, until you're at like Golden Demon level, or the job that Martin did on that
the
Stormbird Thunderhawk.
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's a
Stormraven.
Stormraven.
That's it. I mean, that's something else. The middle carry ship.
The middle carry
That
ship.
one. The medium drop.
It is
carry.
the Stormraven, yeah.
That's the one. But until you're at that level, the rest of it, I'm convinced that painting is all it is knowing what to use and when, and very little of it comes down to. I don't think I'm particularly skilled. I haven't got a particularly steady hand. I just know what my man's got to know his limits.
It's got no limits.
I know what my limitations are, and I know, what I've got better at is just knowing what to use when. So it's like, actually, if I use this wash here, if I use a dry brush here, if I use a contrast here, I know how that effect is going to turn out, and I know it's going to look pretty good. And then just combining those. So like we're starting off with the dry brushing, then chucking some contrast on, and if I really then want to add a bit more of a lighter edge, just dry brush again. So like with the reds, for example, I like the Flesh Terrier's red is one of the greatest paints known to man.
I fucking love that contrast.
Such a good red,
paint.
such a good
Gorgeous.
red. But then if you want to line it up a bit afterwards, because it's a much darker red, you just get your Mephiston or your Evil Suns and pick out those layers with a bit of dry brushing. I don't bother edge highlighting; it's just dry brushing on those extreme edges. All of a sudden, then just those little edges pop. It's dead easy, and we're still talking like a few seconds of just a couple of light flicks with the dry brush. And you're like, right, there we go, done.
I feel like the first time I used a dry brush, I just couldn't believe it. It was kind of, it baffled me because I felt like I've done something really quick and it's left such a good result. And I was like, this is crazy. Like there's so many. Oh, here we go, and we're off.
I think
We were doing so well.
I think that
so
until
fucking
you
well.
reach like a really, really high skill level within painting, I think that dry brushing is just an amazing technique. Like it's like one of those, like it's like that 80-20 rule, right? Where like 80% of the effect will come from dry brushing, which you can do in like probably less than 20% of the time. If you are actually really good at like layering and doing everything, you can get a better effect than dry brushing because you've kind of got that like bit of extra control with it and everything. But for me, like dry brushing quite often is actually just really, really effective. And it sounds silly because, you think of how simple a technique it is. Certainly when I first ever learned to paint Warhammer, it was one of the first techniques that I, other than what obviously naturally occurs to you, which is dip, brush in paint, slap on model. As soon as somebody then says, oh, actually, try this, I remember as a kid thinking, wow, this is amazing. And then for years and years, I stopped doing it because I don't know, I thought I was like better than it or something. And then came back to it years later and was just like, yeah, this is just still the best. It's so good. So easy. It's just such good results for such like little time. And, yeah, as you said earlier, Ben, like not much skill required in doing it. There are better ways to dry brush than others. But yeah, certainly the amount of impact you can get for the amount of time that you put in, superb.
And like, I think as well, the dry brushing, if you get it right, I think it looks more natural than edge highlighting anyway. Like you said, until you get into wet blending and, gradual layering, I feel like dry brushing gives you a much more realistic way to do wear and tear, lighting, all that kind of stuff. I think it's because again, it's naturally a gradual layer anyway. I feel like it works better. Yeah. Like you said, until you're at that, like, 1% level.
Yeah, once you can start kind of, I watch these YouTube videos and people are doing like volumetric highlighting just with a brush and things like that, and I'm like, that probably requires some underlying knowledge of how to actually paint things in 2 dimensions that I just don't really have, understanding how light works and all of that kind of stuff, which obviously it sounds simple, doesn't it? It's like, that the light comes from above because there's a big glowy thing up there, but when you come to paint, suddenly I'm like, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I'm partially colourblind, so I'm fucked either way. A lot of it looks the same.
I am just see I used to when I was a kid.
That's why his blood
That is
angel.
the way Sanguinius would have wanted it. I've got the most important colours dialed in.
When I was a kid, when I first ever started playing Warhammer, one of the people who I used to play with was colourblind, and orcs are obviously green always, but he was colourblind, and the green that he decided he wanted his orcs to be was actually orange. But he was like, well, orcs are meant to be green, and in my eyes, when I look at these, they are green. So I want to paint them so that I see them as green. And I tell you what, they look great. They look great.
I think as well, that's another thing with the hobby in general, isn't it? They're your models. You can paint them however you want. Like, yeah, you can follow a chapter or whatever if you want. But if you go, actually, no, I want my orcs to be orange, or I don't want to do that colour scheme, it's completely up to you. And you just got to have fun with it and not go, I have to follow the box art.
I've done some of my Blood Angels in Flesh Tearers red. And they're not Flesh Tearers, they're just Blood Angels, and I just prefer the red. I mean, red. As far as I'm concerned, it might not even be red. You've been telling me that I've got the best looking Ultramarines. But so I was like, oh, is that Flesh Tearers red you've done? Like, yeah. Oh, okay. I'm like, do you know why I did that? Because they're mine.
And I want to. Yeah, absolutely.
So like, if you want the, I only talk about Blood Angels because it's the most stuff I painted, but if you want to go for the dark, grim dark look, go for that. If you want to go for the crisp, bright look, go for that.
You mean that big Salamanders army that you painted up, Ben? I was wondering why you kept going on about Sanguinius.
Yeah.
Well, dear.
Listen,
brilliant.
I think they're red. That's all that's important. Fuck knows what colour the guard army is.
Orange.
Yeah. As if life wasn't hard enough for a guardsman anyway, I've decided to paint them bright orange. Just to really stand out.
So, if you guys were to give one piece of advice for anyone coming into the hobby and about painting and going, what is good enough? What could you say to someone just to say, like, just this is the one rule. the one commandment to follow when you're painting an army, what would it be? I mean, for instance, mine would be why. Why are you painting the army? Are you painting it to play? So paint it, just get the 3 colors on it, get them on the board. Are you painting it to get better? You know, it's to me, is figure out what your why is before you start painting that army, you know, and then kind of go from there. So I would, you know, personally myself, is I want to play. So I need to find my standard, which is, you know, it's going to be that Battle Line Plus now, and just get them on the board because I want to play the game. So that is my one. Why are you doing it? Find your why. So that's that. What about you guys? What would be your one kind of commandment or rule or testament, should I say, for better word?
And I quite like Josh's, which, without getting too deep, is probably quite a good ethos for life, isn't it? But don't compare yourself when you're just starting out with a skill. Don't compare yourself to people who are at the top of that skill, because it's the most disheartening way to learn something new. And you automatically do it. You're like, right, I've learned something brand new. Let me go and see who's really good at it. And now I'm going to compare all of my work to them. Just compare your work to your previous work. So do your first mini, have a go at that, and then try and learn. And then just try and, if you want to get better, try and get better each time. But it's a little bit like dodgeball, isn't it? The gym, where they're like, you look great as you are, but if you want to get fit, come and have a go. And I think it's that sort of like, just enjoy it. Like,
Yeah, it's
pick
comparison.
the army you look
isn't it?
Pick the army you like that looks fun. Have a go at painting it. Don't compare yourself to the stuff that's on GW's product pages. Don't compare yourself to the top end. By all means, learn from those, but just enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. Like, you know.
Yeah, just have fun with it. Like that's probably the best thing. I think that's the most simple thing. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just enjoy it. Like, just find a starter box. It's got 4 models in, few paints, and just start. That's basically all. I think for me, that's as simple as it is. Just start with something small and go for it.
I've got a little bit of a practical tip, perhaps, which is, I guess, split into 2 parts. The first bit is, when you first get into painting something, consider the amount of it that you're going to have to paint when you're thinking about the kind of quality that you want to go for. If you've just picked up, say, like a kill team or something where you're only going to have to paint up 1 box of guys, then you might be quite happy to invest the time in really, customizing each one of them and going into all of the details, making sure you cover it all. If you're painting an army, you've got to bear in mind, think about how you're going to feel when you're painting the 50th one of that same guy. Like, and if you've spent absolutely ages on the first one, you're going to be a bit dissatisfied if you don't spend that kind of amount of time and detail and effort on all of them. So you've got to kind of try and weigh up how much time it's going to take you to do everything you need to do for that whole army. And second of all, if you are doing those armies, top tip here from me, make sure you write down how you did the paint scheme, because this hobby is a slippery slope and you'll get sidetracked with other things. And before you know it, you'll come back to those models and you'll go, oh, how did I do this again? And, I've got a couple of armies where I think, yes, it's red. Which one of the 7 different reds that I've got is this? And then you're having to faff around to try and remember exactly what you did. So if you can write down the steps, the order that you paint the things in and the colors that you use to get the effect that you did, that way you can keep it consistent. And keeping your army consistent, I think, is an easier way to get a good look than even just, even if they're not as well painted, if they're all consistently painted, then they'll look great from far away.
I think, no, that's spot on. I agree with those ones. I agree with them. Perfect. So, I don't know.
Just buy it all. Buy everything.
Everything and paint it now. And then fuck it off and buy more.
So anyhow, guys, so I think,
it's a gift to your future self.
You're lagging a bit there, Steve.
I am lagging. I think
we'll
I'm
all
behind
stop
you.
speaking for a minute.
Let me finish this, all right, guys? So anyhow, guys, so I think, that kind of wraps up how good enough is, unless you guys have got any other bits and pieces to pop in there. But yeah, I think that's an interesting topic for.
Watch our video on Battleline Plus. That's a good place to start.
Let's get into that bit.
Well, you were going to, but you're lagging so much. I wanted to let everyone know before next week kicked in.
He didn't finish his sentence before you even mentioned what to do next.
You know, because I'm lagging so much, I'm quite happy to hand it over to Ben to close the episode off.
You go for it, Steve. You go for it. I'm no good at finishing.
Come on, Steve. Come on.
Unless it's Daughters of Cain.
Yeah. All over it.
So anyhow, okay, so a couple of things just to go over. So we have the Battleline Plus video on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, which shows Ben's amazing technique of how to paint models quickly. Please, by all means, jump over, have a look at it. Also, we've got our own third space products of brushes and brush soap that we've got in there that we've been using in the video. I've been using them myself, and they're a fantastic set. It's just a beginner starter set of brushes and brush soap. Also, we have the International Guild of Hobbyists charity event coming up. So something that the archives have been helping with. We've all been painting a detachment of Space Marines in it's a silver livery, and there's going to be a big Titan battle in Warhammer World at the beginning of April. And then all these detachments from Germany, from America, Canada, everything are all going to be going up for raffle. So we'll be putting more information about that when the raffle goes live as well. Our detachment will be in display in the shop at the archives all the way up till September when the raffle will be drawn. So if you guys are interested or in Dorchester or down the way, you can have a look at it all. But that is everything there, I think, to wrap that up before I go lagging again. But yeah, it's been interesting. Oh, what are we doing next week, guys? We were saying there was another topic we had for next week's podcast. What was that we were thinking about? I can't remember it now. What was it? We said, it was something
Josh,
to do
what's
with...
in the minutes?
We were talking about burnout and piles of grey was one of the ones, and then another bit about either why we do the hobby or kind of why did we get into the hobby. So one of those two, perhaps.
Yeah. So, well, basically, guys, if you're interested,
why we do it would be a cool one.
Yeah. So, I mean, if there's anything you guys want us to talk about, please drop in the comments below. Let us know what you think and feeling, or if you've got anything to add to what we've been chatting about in today's episode, please let us know in the comments before. Obviously, please like, subscribe, share, do all those fun things that everyone asks everyone to do with these kind of stuff. And yeah, I think that is it for now, guys. So, no, thank you for your time. Hopefully, you got to the end. It's the third episode. We've got this far, so we're doing okay. We're all alive. So yeah, until next time, guys. Wait a minute, was that a cat on your worktop or was that a shadow, Ben? Sorry.
That's my wife.
Anyhow, I got distracted. So thank you, guys. Thank you all for being here. And I will catch you guys next, in a fortnight's time, hopefully. I'll see you later.
See you later. See you later, guys.